Happy Sunday, guys. Karibuni tena sana. We are super excited to have you as usual. This is Being Mommy, and as usual, we want to have amazing conversations with you. This is a place where you get to get informative conversations that will help you in the journey of raising your children. More specifically, today, our topic is something that is very important to us as parents. At every juncture, when we're raising our children, there's fears that arise with, the influences that our children will experience as they are growing up. More specifically, drug and alcohol abuse. Lately, there's been, our society today, there's so many influences out there. And as parents, we're fearful. We're wondering, how do we talk to our kids? How do we inculcate values in our homes that kind of, help our children refrain from experimenting? It is a natural, it is a natural journey in a child's growth to want to experiment, to want to try out things here and there. But how do we as parents guide our children into, walking away from, trying out these harmful substances? That will be our topic of the day. And we have a guest today who will be joining us, who will be sharing his story. He is a recovering alcoholic, and he is willing to share his story with us and just to share with us what he went through at a younger age and how he got out of it. So you do not want to miss this out. So, karibu sana, Duncan.
Thank you.
How are you today?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, we're super excited to have you joining us.
Most welcome.
Yes. You title yourself as a recovering alcoholic.
Yes.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what that means.
Let me start by saying that I started taking alcohol when I was very young. And considering that that addiction, to most people, they don't know, it's a disease in itself.
Yes.
And I started taking alcohol when I was barely 14 years old.
Wow.
Immediately after I joined high school, when I was in Form 1. And the initiation was because of the company that I kept, or the peers, my friends in school. Having come from a very conservative Catholic primary school, a boarding school, where the rules were so strict.
Yes.
So when I joined Form 1, I felt there was a lot of freedom. And whenever I joined, I went to a school in Muranga. It's Muranga High School, and it was a good school. But the rules there were a bit lax. So I joined, and there were guys who were in Form 6. So those are the people that I kept company with. And immediately I found a lot of freedom.
Yes.
And the guys were a bit old, and they used to experiment with alcohol. So as we know, addiction goes with stages. The first stage is initiation.
Okay.
So this stage of initiation is whereby you are initiated into this, into the habit by seeing people doing it, and then you feel as if you want to try.
Yes.
And for this one, maybe I can counter there and say about in our homes, there are those people who keep alcohol at home.
Okay.
So when you leave alcohol there, children experiment. That is not even experiment. They are initiated by seeing their parents taking.
Yes.
Maybe they are the older taking, and they find that as if it is not a problem.
That is true.
So when I kept that company, they used to take this Rocco Blues, which was sold near the school. So when I started taking alcohol there, it progressed like that.
Right.
Continually. Then in high school, I continued taking. Then after high school, before I joined college, then I continued taking alcohol.
Okay.
And I joined college, Kenya Polytechnic. I was taking a course in electrical electronics. Let me say, I'm a bright guy.
Yes.
So even in a primary school, I had passed very well. So even in secondary school, because of the behaviors and everything, I didn't perform well, which today I still believe that I didn't attain the grades that I was supposed to attain.
Okay.
So when I joined Kenya Polytechnic, I passed well. Then I continued taking alcohol. Because Kenya Polytechnic was, you see, in college now, the freedom was even more.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And those days, Kenya Polytechnic, we could get jobs, small jobs, so I could have money.
Okay.
So my taking of alcohol was was affordable at that time. I could afford it.
Yes, all right.
And here, about parenting now here, maybe I look at it as if when parents are not so much involved in the way their kids are doing,
Yes.
or monitoring, that is when our problem comes in.
Okay.
And I can attest to this that I guess my parents' daughter, I was mature. Being the first boy in our family, I was the first son.
All right.
So they felt this guy is mature, so he can handle his own life.
Yes.
So they were not too much
On your
on my life.
Okay, okay. Just before we proceed, you mentioned something, the initiation
Yes.
phase, basically.
Yes.
So this is the point where you're at a point where you're introduced to this substance abuse. So if it's alcohol or any other drug, and you've mentioned that sometimes even it's the parents at home who are partaking of this. And I do know our viewers at home, I don't know if you guys were able to watch this video. Once upon a time, there was a child who was going to school and she was drunk. And the thing is, her story was that she actually learned about this from her parents.
Yes.
Her reasoning was that, you know, my parents drink, so this is why I also drink. So we could see her, I mean, a young girl, she's in her school uniform, drunk and going to school. And for her initiation was at home, back in the house. So I think, so for you, you say it was your friends. Was there any part of it that came from home?
Yeah. And me see, my parents, my father is an alcoholic.
Okay.
Was, and he used to take alcohol.
Yes.
So there was much alcohol at home. So even when in primary school, I didn't take, because of the conservativeness of the school.
The school
But when
you
I was
were in.
yes,
Okay.
in primary school. So when I went to secondary school, now because I had experimented, I had noted that, you know, initiation at times, when you are experimenting, you don't find any joy. But you see the reward after you take any drug, the reward is what makes you now to take more.
Okay, so what is, when you talk about the reward, what is that?
Yes,
what was
now,
that at the time?
One, maybe where the point where you are taking that alcohol.
Yes.
Let's say initiation. When you are with your friends, you find that when they take you, you find that they get high, they are very happy. So you want to feel the same. But there are times, there are people who take the first time and they never take alcohol because of the experience.
The first experience.
So the reward is that experience that you get after taking any drug.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it might be hostile. It
Yes.
might be a bad experience.
All right. So
Yes.
just going back, because I think it would be great to just go into your journey back at that 14-year-old boy. Your first, maybe you can tell us a little bit about what happened that day. Is it your friends who gave you the drink, told you sip, or were you feeling you needed that sense of belonging, so you did it so that you can fit in? What was going through the mind of that 14-year-old Duncan?
Yes. Now,
Yeah.
you see, those days there was a lot of molesting of Form 1s, the
Okay,
harassment.
yes, yes.
So the guys that I met in Form 6, we were being harassed by the ones who were in Form 2 and Form 4.
Okay.
Then I had friends in Form 6
Yes.
who had come from a neighboring school. You see, when the O-levels, they used to go to A-levels. You are maybe the school that you are in, then you go to A-levels. So the ones in A-levels, they came from a school that was near my place. Most of them, I knew them. So they were kind of protecting me, and they used to take alcohol.
Okay.
So in the process of protecting me, I joined, they were going for games. So I joined even games. I started keeping their company. So when they used to take,
Yes.
and you know, when they take and I also take, I also feel I'm like them now.
Yes.
So the experience was now
Now you're
the macho,
grown.
the macho
Yes,
feeling that
okay.
I'm now like them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So even when I continued taking, I felt it is a superior way of living.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it kind of gave you this sense of belonging, this sense of now you're an adult, or now you can take on anyone.
Yes.
Okay. Did this tie into any other, did it morph into other substances that you tried out?
Incidentally, for me, I tried cigarettes, but they didn't work.
Okay.
Maybe a puff, I've not done any other drugs,
Yes.
but alcohol purely.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Just going back to the home setting, you say there was alcohol at home.
Yes.
And at the same time, in primary school, you didn't try it out because you were in a strict, setting in school. So just tying in the two together. So strict school, kind of some freedom at home. Was there freedom at home?
Yeah, there was freedom.
There was.
Yes, even my parents are teachers. Even if there was that restriction of the strictness of the parents,
Yes.
there was some freedom.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so how do you, just looking back, how do you feel? Because, I mean, you say in primary school, because of the strictness of the school, it kind of kept you away from it. Do you feel that helped you, like not start earlier than 14?
Yes.
Being in the strict primary school?
Yes, now. And again, this strictness at times can maybe develop to defiance.
Yes.
You see, now, when one is in a very strict situation, but then later, when in secondary school, the freedom is now, when this person gets that freedom, it depends on the kind of strictness that is in the school.
Yes.
Or is the strictness continued at home? Are there values that are being instilled in this person? Not about creating fear.
Yes.
You know, there is strictness that creates
that is
fear.
Yes.
Yes, so there was fear. Then you fight the freedom. Now this person is free. There is freedom.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So there is the difference between being strict and creating fear to this kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for you, to that child, 14-year-old Duncan, it was more of fear. I mean, before then, it was more of fear. And so when Duncan discovered freedom, he was now like, oh, kumbe, there's a lot I've been missing out here.
Yes, and considering those years, because it is long years. You know, it is in the 80s.
Okay.
In the 80s, it is not like the setup today.
All right.
Because those days, immediately after school, when somebody is initiated, you are kind of, you are seen as if you are grown up. You get? Now you can make choices.
Yes.
I think here is where parents now should understand that this kid is still a kid. One is a kid up to maybe up to 18. And I think the best thing is you instill these values. You tell this kid. Those days, nobody used to tell us about the dangers of alcohol, the dangers of drugs. They were not that much. These days, they are not. You can see that girl who is in Form 3.
Yes.
Very careless, drinking with the mother. Maybe I can maybe share an incident that I saw just the other day when I attended a graduation ceremony somewhere.
Okay.
And what I saw in the party, there were young girls and young boys. Alcohol was freely being taken by those kids with the parents.
Okay.
In the thinking that these kids now need to enjoy, they have their freedom. It is their time.
Yes.
But nobody tells them the dangers. Because when I was initiated into it, I wish I knew at that time the dangers later. That now, quitting will now be a problem.
A difficulty.
Because as you know, as time goes by, you start getting responsibilities.
Yes.
You are not even able to handle. Years go, and then you find that there are things that you fail to do when you are young.
Yes.
Time has passed. Now, the only consolation that you have, and the only place that you can maybe hide your frustrations with life is in alcohol. Because in drinking sessions and setup, one finds as if those people you are taking with are as if they are friends.
Yes.
Because there is a lot of consolation. Don't care attitudes. Yeah.
That is true.
So even if these kids, when they are with the other kids, when they are seated with them, they find when they are taking alcohol. If this kid is not taught at home, there is a problem about taking alcohol, taking drugs.
Yes.
In the setup where you meet those other friends, you'll find as if it is a normal setting.
Okay.
So in that experience where I saw those kids, you'll find that the way they are taking it freely and the parents are there taking, they find as if it is normal.
Yes, it's a
because
way of
it is
life.
a party.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the moment you see your parents doing it, I mean, that's okay.
It's normal.
Okay.
And because they have allowed it, because it's a party, they don't understand that addiction or getting addicted is a process. So this first time, and the experience, this person, today you buy for the kid, tomorrow they'll go to look for it.
Yes.
They look for the ones that they can afford. That is where now the cheap drugs come in. Yes.
True. All right. And how often were you, partaking in the alcohol?
Mine was not even, I cannot talk about what period because I used to take day in, day out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So it was...
Yes, a lot of it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So
And because at one stage, I've said that in life I was very lucky.
yes.
So when I finished college, I got a very good job. I was employed as a banker
All right.
at KCB. And immediately after college,
Yeah.
I had a very good salary.
Okay.
Considering nobody had told me the dangers of alcohol. And now I was already in it.
Okay.
I never knew I had a problem at that time. I was
Yes.
already in it.
Okay.
So when I started getting money, I continued taking. Yes, I could go for work. But as time went by, you see, what alcohol does, it even makes somebody lazy. Now, when you want to take it, you find as if when you're working, as if it's a bother working.
Okay.
Yes, you just
So
want-
everything else is a bother, but
Yes.
you just want to take.
And incidentally, the way I have lost my jobs, because I've lost so many jobs, so many opportunities because of alcohol, I've never been sacked.
Wow.
Myself, I resign.
Okay.
You know that
So you
don't care
sacked
attitude.
yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially in KCB, I wrote a letter of resignation.
Okay.
And incidentally, in the bank, I was a performer. Yes, those people who know me, they can tell you I was a performer. In fact, I was promoted almost every year. Even when I was leaving, I was at the level of a very senior clerk.
Okay.
Yes, and I was even getting promoted even to higher grades.
All right.
But I wrote a letter of resignation. Just, somebody taking alcohol gets angry very fast. They don't want to be told. Hatakagi kuambiwa wewe, hapa unakosea, hataki kuambiwa.
So the moment you're told,
Yes, you are doing
unakasirika.
unakasirika tu. So I read, and I remember mpaka manager kabla alimit barua yangu kwa headquarter that ati mimi nimeresign, anakuja kunibebeleza nirudi kazi because I was a performer in my branch in the region that I was working in. But I refused. Then immediately, the benefits that I got, I took a course in, because I had a prayer, I had done electrical.
Okay.
The way I got a job in the bank was just by luck. I've told you I'm a lucky person.
Yes.
So I went back to my electrical work. I took a course in mobile repair.
Okay.
That time is when phones had come. So again, I went into a job whereby there was a lot of money.
Okay.
Repairing of phones.
Yes.
And they were very new in the market in the year 2089. So again, I was having a lot of money.
All right.
I continued taking. Then, I could sell people's phones that I brought for repair. Then I found this job now. This one will land me into jail because I'd been arrested so many times.
Okay.
Yes, I could take naacha simu ya mtu sitegenezi naenda kukunywa. So it continued that way. Sasa nikaachana nayo, then ndio sababu sasa nikakuja Nairobi. Lakini bado nilikuwa tu nakuja Nairobi. Sasa nikaingia Kibera.
Okay.
Nikaanza kukaa Kibera. Huko sasa nikapata freedom sasa na napata tu kazi tuagu tu stima nafanya, used to work, napata kazi. Ikafika mahali kazi sasa ikanichosha. Sitaki kufanya kazi.
At all.
Hapana, kazi sifanyi. It continued. Now, the problem here now when I talk about family, because when I went to rehab, I found that family is very important.
Okay.
In this journey of recovery, in the journey of addiction, if somebody starts getting addicted, the family is the one that starts, because all the significant people in your life, they should see, they start seeing there is a problem here.
Okay.
You see this kind of, these things of, huyu mtu ni kurogwa, huyu mtu hawezi jisaidia, haiwezi saidia.
Hiyo ni mtoto mbaya, mwachane na yeye.
Look at that family whereby the parent is not even concerned what the kid is doing.
Yes. Hataki
kujua. Sasa, huyu amekaa miaka 3 hajakuja nyumbani. Nobody cares. I don't regret that I was not told. But for me, I would tell those people who are parents now,
yes,
please get concerned with what your kid does.
Yes.
Your kid is your kid, even up to 30,
yes,
even up to 40.
Yes.
This kid, kama ameoa, get concerned, get into that life of that kid. It helps.
All right.
Because you create the values.
That's
this
true.
Kid will know. Hata kama wewe hufanyi, mwambie, unajua kwa maisha, ukikunywa pombe ikifika mahali, itakuharibia maisha yako. Those are the values that are created to somebody. And who are the subconscious memories, You see, when somebody is, there are those stages of development in life.
Okay.
You see this kid who is very young.
Yes.
Ukiona wewe unaweza kubuka ile maneno yenye mlikuwa mnaambiwa nasari. Lakini angalia yenye unaambiwa form 1 hukubuki sana. Kama ile tu maneno yenye ya Tom and Mary, hiyo unaweza kubuka because it is stored somewhere in the subconscious.
True.
So if this kid is taught when this kid is young, those things that you teach this kid when that kid is too young, atakubuka. Umwambie wewe. Wewe usiangalie kama sisi tunakunywa ama tunafanya, lakini ujue pombe huwa inaharibu maisha ya mtu. Bangi ukivuta itaharibu maisha ya mtu. Wacha hiyo awe anajua. Teach these kids to church.
Yes.
Waonyeshe mambo ya Mungu. Wakiwa wadogo, let them make those choices.
Yes.
But at least you have told them the values. What is good, what is bad.
Yes.
Wachague wenyewe.
Okay.
Lakini kama hana mtu wa kumwambia, I believe the choices that they will make wataenda kujitafutia. Na unajua dunia nayo ni mafunzo kubwa.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I think when this person gets from home, teaching zake kutoka nyumbani, it's better.
Kweli, that's true. I just want to, at what point did you realize that, hapa kuna shida? And because you talked about going to rehab, at what point did you now realize that this is a serious problem? I've lost so many jobs, I've lost so many opportunities, I need help.
Yes.
How did that transpire?
Yeah, mine is a big story, but briefly I'll tell you. It had gotten now to a point, rock bottom. I had lost hope. I had tried to kill myself so many times. Natembea kwa barabara, gari nigoge, naona kwani leo gari zina breki zote, asikufi. Hapana. So at one time, I moved to Nakuru. When I went to Nakuru, nafanya tu kazi yangu ya stima, nikashikwa kwa deni ya Chang'aa. Ile wakati president sasa alisema pombe imwagwe, nikashikiwa hapo. Na nikapelekwa ndani, then I went to prison. I've served in prison for 2 months. In prison, that is, huko nikiwa jela in Nakuru, kuna wale wafugwa wenye wako huko. Mimi nilianza nafanya kazi kwa shamba, lakini afternoon naenda kufundisha na wale hardcore criminals. Kuna wale watu wenye wako jela ni wazuri. So one guy tulikuwa tunarelate na yeye, ananiuliza, wewe ulifugwa juu ya nini? Akaniambia ni juu ya pombe. Na wewe unaonekana wewe ni mtu mwerevu because I used to teach in prison. I used to teach. Naenda kuwafundisha, unajua kuna classes nilijiallocate kusomesha maths and English ili nisifugiwe juu jela. Kufugiwa ni kazi gumu na ni baya.
Okay.
So ili badala ya kurudishwa kwa wards, mimi nilikuwa naenda kufundisha. So this guy akaniambia hivyo. Then it started clicking in me. I have to think about it. Na then this guy who was reformed, hata kama alikufa amefugwa maisha, he told me, now the choices that you make in your life are yours. Hakuna siku you'll make choices that are for somebody else.
Wow.
Just go and think about making choices for your own self. Na yenye utamake ikuwe ni yako. Forget about what you have lost. Forget wenye umekosea. Think about your own self. Nikatoka jela. Incidentally, unajua mapua yenye imeoja tobacco, haikosi kuitamani. Nikarudi tu na nikaendelea. But this time I had given up. Okay. Sasa nikafikiria acha nirudi nyumbani nikae sasa kuna madhe. Na wao walikuwa wamekaa miaka mingi sana bila kuniona. So my mother was, there is a sister of mine who I love so much. Aliniambia, Derito bwana, fanya hivi. Wewe urudi nyumbani sasa ukae tu na madhe, at least akupikie.
How old were you at this time?
And that is back in 2015, so I was about 42.
Okay.
2016, that is, I was 42 years.
Okay.
Sasa nirudi nyumbani. And that time, nilikuwa nimepata familia ikaharibika. I had a wife who passed on in 2012, familia, watoto wenye tulikuwa tumepata nao wameenda. And now, when I went back home, nikaendelea. And now you see, siku ya kwanza wewe ukirudi utakuwa mzuri sana. Si siku nyingine lazima uanze kumadiwa na madhe na uko 40 something years. Si unasikia ni vibaya. Mimi nikafikiria hapana, hapa sikai. Nikaanza kutafuta tu kazi, nikaanza kukua hoka. But all along the way, bado nasubuka because I feel I've been a let down to my own life, to others, the family. Mimi nimefundishwa mzuri, hapana. Hii mimi nitajaribu nikufe. So then one time nikitembea tu namna hii nikafikiria hapana. So nikaenda kwa mtu mwenye alikuwa amenisimamia when I was being initiated. Nikaenda kwake tukaanza kuongea, akaniambia, Derito, wewe ni mtu mwerevu kwa maisha yako. Ni nini inakusubuaga? Unajua shida yako inakuwa pombe peke yake. Wewe wacha pombe. Ile mambo mengine itakuja kama imejipanga. Nikaona hata nikiacha nitajisaidia aje. But this thought of I should quit now was in my head so too much. Then in Nyeri kulikuwa na rehab yenye ilikuwa imeachwa na county government, it was free. Na nilikuwa najua hata mimi niende rehab hakuna mtu anaweza nilipia. Mimi nimewatesa sana nyumbani. Hata vile wameniforgive ni kimugu tu. So mimi nikafikiria wacha niende rehab. So one day niliamka tu nikaenda kwa mzee. Hata kuingia kwake kwa table room alikuwa anafikiria sasa hapa ile vita itakutoka kwa hii nyumba, because that was my way of doing things. Mimi ni mtu wa makelele nini kuwafanyia. Kamwambia dad, mimi nafikiria kwenda rehab. Hata yeye akastuka akaniambia ai nini? Na maadhina yeye amekaa hapo nje anasikiza sasa ajue ni ukweli huyu jamaa ni nini anataka kuambia mzee. Ni nini ameingia huko table room? Ama ni zile furugu zake ameanza kuleta. Na incident hiyo siku kwanza nilikuwa it was May 24th 2016.
Okay.
Nilikuwa nimeshida nikakunywa mpaka asubuhi. Kaona hapana, wacha niende rehab nione kama huko kuna solution.
Okay.
But because there is somebody I was told alikuwa amepelekwa huko rehab na amebadilika. So ndio nikapelekwa rehab na mzee. Tukafika hiyo rehab, nikakaa chini nikaambiwa sasa sijui uende ukuje na nini. Mimi nikawaambia hapa sitoki. Because tena zile nguo nilikuwa nimevaa sikuwa na nguo zingine, hata wananiambia niende nguo gani wapi. Nitaenda kuambia madhe somebody who is 40 aende anunuliwe nguo kweli? Hapana. Sasa wakaangalia nikawaambia siku na huyu jamaa rafiki yangu mwenye ako huku. Huyu mtu ndio nitaomba nguo zake.
Okay.
Nitavaa na juu huku ni pahali nakaa ndani. Nitakuwa navua usiku sasa na anika. Na sabuni nitaomba tu. So my dad akasema wacha niende. Tutafikiria tutamletea hizo vitu zina wewe wacha aache hapa.
Okay.
Then I made that choice. Mimi nikaona hapa. Then started committing myself kwa Mungu. Nikaanza sasa kujiita tu mkutano. Unajua rehab there are those times that you go for meditation. And meditation najiuliza kwani Mungu mimi kweli you created me to be that useless. Mimi ukinipea siku nyingine moja tu ya maisha I'll be glad nikiwa sober. Uniondolee tu hiyo kiu ya pombe tu.
Aya, Duncan, wacha tupumzishe hapo kidogo. Let's go on a short break. We'll take a short break, guys, but just before we go on a break, I feel like there's so much we're learning here, Duncan. You know, it's very important. Charity begins at home, for our parents at home to talk to your children about alcohol and its effects to your children. Don't shy away from it. The company we keep is also very important because that's how, for you, you are initiated into it. So even as parents, we need to know who our children's friends are. And I'm just looking forward to learn so much more from you, Duncan. We're going to take a short break. Do not go away because we have so much more to talk about. Welcome back, guys. I hope you guys have not gone away. And if you are just joining us, we have been having an amazing conversation with Duncan, who is a recovering alcoholic. He has been sharing his story with us, and it's been an amazing conversation to have with him. I just want to welcome our new guest, Deborah Obwoge, sorry, Obwoge, who is a clinical psychologist, and she'll be helping us just understand better, you know, how our children are developing and how at each and every stage we can talk to them about these matters that we're discussing today. So karibu sana, Deborah. We are so excited to have you. I know you've been listening to Duncan's story. Duncan, you need to write a book. Just before the break, I told him you need to write a book because
I'll make a point.
Yes, please. We'll hold you accountable to that. There are millions of people watching.
Thank you.
We will all hold him accountable to that.
Yes,
but just let's start a conversation with you, Deborah. We just want to understand. Duncan was 14 when he first, you know, had his first experience with the drugs and with alcohol. Yes. Yeah. So just as parents, we just want to understand at this stage in life, what is it that our children are going through, and how, as parents, do we then come in to kind of prevent them from, you know, when they go to school, then get pulled into, you know, bad influences?
I believe everything to do with children, first of all, starts from home.
Okay.
And it starts with the parent. What habits have you been modeling for your child?
Yes.
What patterns have you been modeling for your child?
Okay.
Because when it comes to substance abuse, we call it is a patterned use, or rather it is a patterned form of use of a
Okay.
drug.
All right.
Because you can use the drug on and off, or the child can see you using the drug every single day, or they realize when dad is tipsy, I can talk to him about anything. He's easy, like he's approachable. When he's not taken anything, he's highly irritable. So there is no getting through to him at that point. So your children basically mimic what they see from you.
Okay.
If they have grown to watch you use a substance continuously, and I remember Duncan mentioning that in the home he would see people using alcohol.
Yes.
So to a child that registers as, it's something normal. It's not out of the norm. The question now becomes, why is it that I am not using it?
Yes.
Why are they allowed to use it and not me? So in that regard, you then find the children experimenting outside the home.
Okay.
Hence, you were raised, Duncan said that he was raised in a very strict conservative home. When he went outside with his peers in high school and realized, this place, they're not so keen on the rules and regulations I could use. They then venture out and use it.
Okay.
But if he was to go deeper and tell us, probably back home, when he would go home for the holidays when he was in high school,
Yes.
he would be the perfect son, very disciplined, you know, just showing face or covering up
Yes.
the acts that he has been doing at home.
Yes.
So there's usually that disconnect, but it has to start from home, and it begins with you as a parent.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just wondering, because I know the viewers at home, and just to remind our viewers, remember you can join in on this conversation. Our social media handles is Ebru TV Kenya, and you can also call in if you do have any questions. Just join in on this conversation with us. Where was I? Just to go back to the conversation, I have completely lost the question that I was going to ask you. But Duncan had mentioned that he was in a strict school, and the freedom was actually at home. Yeah.
Okay.
So because I'm just thinking, when you're looking for a school even for your kids, you think, I mean, it has discipline, so this is the place I'll take my child to, you know, so that they are straightened out. But the values were not matching at home. And then now when he went on to high school, he found that freedom. And which is very much so likely to happen whenever you're with your friends. You kind of feel a sense of freedom, when your parents are not watching you. So the question is, how do we, you know, give our children the confidence to be okay with saying, no, I'm not going to take that because it's not good for me? Or, you know, how do we make them be able to make those informed decisions?
That's actually a very good question to ask. As I had said earlier, it all begins with what is modeled at home. And also, as parents, allow me to say we, much as I am not a parent,
Yes.
but aspiring to be one. So,
Amen.
So as parents, we have an obligation to be involved in the lives of our children. And there's a difference between being involved and overly involved. So there needs to be that balance between being the strict parent, the disciplinarian and all that, and being the nurturing crone. You need to know what's going on in your child's life. At what stage are they? Within the different developmental stages, there are different needs that a child needs to be met in them.
All right.
At a certain stage, if we're talking about preteens and teens, they are going through what we call identity versus role confusion, because they are trying to discover who they are individually.
Okay.
Earlier on in their childhood lives, they would identify themselves based on a community.
All right.
So if it is the family, that's when you hear children say, my dad is stronger than your dad. My
Yes.
dad can beat up your dad.
Okay.
So for them, their identity is derived from
The home. Okay.
or the school
All
or the
right.
church. But now when they get to their teens and preteens, their preteens on to the teens, they realize that I am an individual by myself.
Okay.
So who am I?
Yes.
what makes me me? What makes me different from all these other people?
Okay.
And how then do I fit into the fabric of society?
All right.
What different thing do I bring in? So if as a parent talking to a preteen and a teen, you get to meet them at that point of they are trying to identify who they are. So at that point, you reassure them.
Yes.
If there are certain positive qualities you have seen in your child, they are a public speaker, they are a leader. When they go out on the playground, everybody wants to know, what do you want to play? We want to play what you want to play. That in itself is leadership, much as we may
True.
not acknowledge it.
True.
So call out what you see in your child,
Okay.
the positive values you see in them.
All right.
And once they are aware that I am this person, this is what sets me apart, this is what makes me different from the crowd, then they are less likely to be influenced.
Okay.
I do not guarantee that they will not explore because it's part of growing up, but I would like to say that they will come back to their senses and realize if I am a leader, if these are my strengths, then taking alcohol or abusing drugs is then detrimental to the future that I
Okay.
have.
All right.
So if parents approach it from that perspective, meeting the child's need that is specific to the stage of development, you can then avert this crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only way, I mean, for us as parents to do that is to be aware at what
Yes.
stage your child is in, and that means more involvement in your child's life.
Exactly.
Okay, so I just want to ask, just both of you, maybe we can start with Duncan. I feel like, so there's the group of people who take alcohol, and for them it's just, I'm just a social drinker. At what point are we defining it as drug abuse or alcohol abuse? Duncan, I don't know if you have thoughts on that.
Yeah, you see, just as I told you, there are stages of addiction. Eh?
Yes.
There is the initiation. Then there is the experimental stage.
Yes.
The experience or the reward when you start taking is what determines the way you do it. Then in the social way. Now, you know, life is about, in the general way we can talk about life like the way we can, why do you buy a 4x4 vehicle? Because of the terrains that you'll go in.
Okay.
Life is about how you handle the difficulties that you meet.
Yes.
There are people who handle their stress by taking
Alcohol.
wakienda pale. And unajua ukiwa na shida sasa uende kwa mtu mwenye atakusaidia. Na kwa baa, mimi niongee kama mtu mwenye amekaa kwa baa miaka mingi. Nitakwambia ati huko alcoholics wanapata solace. Ni kama umefika home. Ukifika kama ni mmekosana na wazazi, kienda wanakuingilia kwa nini? Si upotee home. Ni ya nini?
Hata chukua moja ukunywa.
You know,
On me.
pale this person ni kama anatafuta pahali ya kupotelea shida zake. Because most people in these days utaona watu hawapendi sana kuongea mambo ya shida zao. Like somebody was asking me, how do you disclose about your life ile ya kitambo nini, umeenda jela nini? And I found that talking heals.
Yes.
If I didn't disclose about my problem, at that time, the first days nikienda rehab, I didn't want to disclose so many things.
Okay.
Even up to now, there are things that I still not really feel comfortable to disclose.
Yes.
But as time goes by, I found that disclosing really helps. Now, here for parents, unaona mtoto sasa, kwa nini mtu anakuwa ni addict? Ina depend na pahali alitoka kwanza, pahali vile alianza. The rewards.
Okay.
Yenye alipata. Unajua kuna mtu mwenye amelelewa na wazazi akaona vile anakunywa ikaharibia boma, vile babao amekuwa mtu mwenye hasaidi na akachukia pombe na akachukia. Kuna mwingine babake anakunywa na bado mpaka wale anakunywa na yeye ukakuwa mlevi. That one now depends on the way you handle. I think this one is per individual.
Okay.
But it's about now choices.
Yes.
Pale nyumbani, ambia mtoto wako ni vibaya ukikunywa pombe inafika mahali. Even give them examples. Look at this person. Hebu muone vile alikuwa. Unaona vile imemharibu. Wacha akitoka hapo aende make those choices. Because I think as much as the way Madam is saying here,
Yes.
unaona kuna these teens, there's identity and that confusion. Hapo ndio wanapotelea wengi because this identity, mimi ni nani, anataka kukopi mtu mwingine. You get? Lakini sasa wewe, that choice that you make is what will define you in future.
Okay.
Lakini kama you have been modeled from home, I think you make other good choices. Look at the things that we are having now. You see, kama mambo ya lesbianism, homosexual. You know, at home, it starts there. Ukiona mtoto wako vile ameanza kubehave, if you don't ask, na umuulize, mbona wewe ni kijana umependa sana kuvaa kama msichana? You know, those are signs. Even in drugs, ukitaka kujua mtoto ameanza, ukiona defiance, kwenu unajua mtoto amekurudishia tu vile anataka. Those are the tell signs. Akiwa mdogo, mwambie hapana. Na if it is possible, refer to a psychologist. Yes.
Like Deborah here.
Yes.
Maybe
refer, unamwambia, na unajua akiwa kwako anastahili go by those rules in that home. And you know, when we talk about those rules and rules, families must be functional, and a family becomes functional when there are rules in that family. Kwetu tunakaa namna hii, and all families are unique the way you do your things, just like culture. Si culture ni tofauti. Hata kwako kuwa na rules. Kwangu things are supposed to be done like this. Wewe ukifika kwangu, you do things like this. Akitaka kwenda huko kufanya zake, lakini ajue kwetu things are done like this. And if this family that is functional, mambo ukiona kwenu mambo inakuwa mzuri, you don't go and copy mambo yenye ni baya huko nje, unless wewe uko na zako. That is now that person can be referred to a professional. Ujue huyu kwetu hatufanyagi hivi. Why? Ameanza kukuja na beliefs zingine anataka kuinstill kwenu. Lazima umuulize, hapana, hapa we don't do things like that.
Maybe Deborah, you can just add on to that, just taking you back to the question, at what point do we now call this drug abuse?
There is substance use, and I had mentioned that there is a pattern when it comes to substance use. You had mentioned social drinking. That in itself is a pattern. So you find the individual will drink, let's say at a rorashio, or they will drink at a bash, or a graduation party. So they will relate drinking to partying. So any event has to have alcohol. So you establish there is a pattern. But at some point they realize, okay, I like the good feeling that I get from drinking when I am at parties. So why then can I not try it elsewhere? So you'll find it just has this snowballing effect. You are taking a tot, something small, a small amount, and then you realize, I like the feeling. The reward he's talking about, there is a certain center in the brain where all these toxins act upon. And when they act in, we call it the reward system of the brain. When they act there, they give you this pleasurable feeling, which in itself is the reward that makes you feel, nice. So how about I try a little more? So when it comes to abuse, you are then taking in dangerous amounts or increased amounts of the substance, increased amounts that are harmful to your body. And you can even take them in manners, in harmful ways. I've heard of young girls dousing their pads or their tampons in alcohol. High school girls.
Also that they carry it to school.
Actually, they go wearing them to school.
Because it's...
Yes, because it's easily absorbed within the body, and that is even faster absorption compared to ingestion.
Oh my goodness.
If you take it through the mouth, it's not as fast being absorbed. So the child reports to school, there is absolutely no sign of alcohol.
In fact, their breath
is clean. You've gone through the check, but you can look at the kid and see this child is tipsy. So they have developed very crafty ways and very harmful ways of taking it. And this just points to the dependence they have on the substance, really. Because you hear people saying, if I do not take a tot in the morning, my hands tremble the whole day. If they are a surgeon, they cannot hold the scalpel together vizuri and do the surgery. You know, if they are typing at a computer, they keep missing keys. So they have to take that tot to ensure that they are good, the tremens are down, for them to carry out their jobs. And at that point, they have then become dependent on the substance for their day-to-day. Hence, the principle of addiction.
Wow. So patterns is what you look out for, and that equals the addiction more or less.
Patterns, the amounts, and to some extent, how how they ingest it or how they
Yeah.
take the drug into the body.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want to, on behalf of, the moms and dads watching at home, how do we really have then this conversation with our children? Like, honestly, without them feeling like, mom, dad, like, and then I feel like there's a sense of, because when I think back in school, you're told, drugs are bad, alcohol is bad, don't do this, don't do that. And in fact, today in chat, someone was saying, the moment you see a sign written, wet paint, do not touch, there's that feeling where you just want to touch and see, is it really wet? Is it really... So how do we, first of all, introduce this open, authentic conversations with our children and just, make them aware? Because I'm just tying into what Duncan was saying, the reward you get. And I'm just thinking as a parent, so should I introduce it and make sure that experience is so horrible for them so that they never take it again? Or, I mean, how do we make sure that, I don't know, like, what do we do?
Well, I am an advocate for starting as early as you can.
Yes.
And I believe at different stage of life, there are words you can use to explain to a child that they understand within their context, the context of the age in which they're at.
Yes.
So first and foremost, a child will do what they see you do.
Yeah.
So if you do not want your children to go down along that path, don't go down that path yourself. Because it will be one thing for a child to hear from the parent, alcohol is bad, weed is bad, heroin, cocaine are bad, but they just walked into you doing that same thing. So they'll ask then, why the disconnect? Why is it that you're telling me one thing and you're doing the other?
opposite.
And of course, the curiosity of, why am I being told not to do this? We need to go beyond just telling them it is bad. You
Yes.
need to tell them the why.
Why it's
of-
bad.
Yeah, you need to tell them why it is bad. How is it bad? If you have stories of people whom alcohol has wrecked their lives, quote unquote,
Okay.
allow me to use that word for lack of a better word,
Yes.
or who have gone down that path and their lives are not what they had pictured them to be initially,
Yes.
go ahead and tell them. Nowadays, I see them advertising on the cartons of cigarettes. They're using the pictures of the people with mouth ulcers and all these things. It's just for them to show you the reality. Because initially you would hear cigarette smoking is harmful to your health, excessive consumption of alcohol is harmful to your health. But how harmful is it?
Is it? Okay.
So explaining to them, of course, for the older ones, you will go the whole 100 yards. You will
Yes.
tell them everything.
Okay.
And we need to take off that garment of, I fear this is a conversation I should not have with my child. They are too young to hear this. They are. For as long as your child can see you doing things, they can learn.
Yes.
Children start learning from as weeks old, months old. Provided they are interacting with their environment, they are continuously learning. So it is upon the parent to capitalize then on the capacity of the child to grasp these things and inculcate these values in them from a very early age.
Yes.
If a child grows up knowing alcohol is bad, they were told when they got to 5, they would see someone drinking, or they would try emulating smoking a cigarette, or you would see them aping the tots, the way people take tots in bars, in
Oh,
movies,
yes, yes.
and you see them in their play.
Yeah.
You can just tell, these babies are talking about alcohol. So they'll come, sit, they try, another one.
Yeah.
Of course, you know this is a behavior they had seen modeled
Seen.
somewhere.
True.
So as a parent, you act immediately.
Okay.
You address it immediately.
At
Don't
that
wait for
time.
it to stew and to brew before
Okay.
you actually come and tell them, by the way, this habit is bad. They have already forgotten. They do not
Yes.
know. They do not know what you're talking about.
All right.
But if you see them acting like that immediately and you go ahead and tell them, by the way, I don't think this behavior is bad. This behavior is good, rather, because of 1, 2, 3 things.
Yes.
And at that point, it will register. The older they get, feed them with more information on these things
Okay.
and make it as realistic and as relatable to their context as you can.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to thank you guys so much for coming on the show. Our time is up, and unfortunately, I mean, I would have loved to ask you guys so many more questions. And Duncan, I'm looking forward to reading more on your story.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for your time, guys. And thank you so much, viewers, for watching the show. I just want to, you know, give it back to you guys. Just don't forget to reach out to us on our social media handles. If you have a story in relation to what you've had today, lessons that you've picked up that you want to apply at home, do share with us. This encourages us to know that we are reaching out to you and we're talking to someone back there at home. All right. So thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to join in next week, same time, same place. I'm your host, Mwende Mbai. See you guys.